Welcome to the Amazon forest. Oh wow, that's actually not the Amazon forest, that's Sao Paulo. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's the only part in Sao Paulo that's actually preserved.
Now we're gonna show you why the world has changed so much in the last century.
Global warming is the increase of the world's temperature due to the CO2 and other gases. In the late 90s, all the world's leaders gathered together to create a protocol to diminish the CO2 and other gases in our atmosphere. That's when the Kyoto Protocol was born.
But what was the Kyoto Protocol?
Você sabe o que foi o protocolo de Kyoto?
Não, sanduíche?
Do you know what the Kyoto Protocol was?
Oh, I know this one. It's a band. I love their song.
Do you know what the Kyoto Protocol was?
Now?
Do you know what the Kyoto Protocol was?
I think it's a sushi convention in Canada.
Vocês sabem o que é o Protocolo de Kyoto? Now we're gonna visit the Kyoto Protocol experts.
The Kyoto Protocol was adopted in Kyoto, Japan on the 11th of December 1997, but not enacted or enforced until 16 February 2005. The protocol is adopted to help combat the adverse effects of climate change or global warming. UNFCCC, an international environment treaty, states the goal of Kyoto Protocol as the stabilization of greenhouse gas concentrations in atmosphere at a level that would prevent dangerous anthropogenic interference with the climate system.
The essence of the Kyoto Protocol is that it calls for nations to commit themselves to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. As of November 2009, 187 states have signed and ratified. The participating countries were divided into two groups, the Annex I and the non-Annex I.
The countries from Annex I have to decrease their emissions by 5.2%.
The United States' position of the Kyoto Protocol has been a subject of controversy and frustration amongst the international community. Early because, despite being a member of the UNFCCC, the U.S., while having signed the protocol in 1998, has to this day not ratified it. Basically means that while showing support for the protocol, the U.S. will not be held responsible if its emissions targets are not met. It's said for one of the most advanced and developed nations of the planet, to which many other countries look up to, failed to provide an example during such a crucial phase on our stay on Earth.
Well, thank you all for your time. And now, for some additional information, we're going to call the scientist Julia Hasenberg.
The Kyoto Protocol's main goal is to reduce the presence of four harmful greenhouse gases, or GHGs: carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and sulfur hexafluoride. These gases belong into two groups, both of which are being targeted by the protocol: the hydrofluorocarbon group and the perfluorocarbons group. The goal is to reduce the emissions of these gases by at least 5.2% compared to 1990s levels. That doesn't sound unreasonable to us specialists, especially considering that the shipping and international aviation emissions are not included in that percentage. Thank you for your call, Mark. See you soon.
So, after all this information, we can conclude that the Kyoto Protocol was created to reduce gas emissions that are harmful for our atmosphere. But what went wrong?
According to us Harvard scientists, the accord is economically inefficient, unobjective, and inequitable. My fellow scientists point out that the protocol fails to include the largest future source of CO2 emissions. China, for example, will pass the US in annual emissions of CO2 in 2013, according to both Professor of International Economics Richard N. Cooper. Another projection suggests that by 2050, China's cumulative contributions of CO2 to the atmosphere will exceed those of the United States. The Kyoto Protocol doesn't even set a long-term goal for atmospheric concentrations of CO2, so there is no objective reason for either the overall reductions or the particular reductions by individual nations that it proposes. Another economically inconvenient problem are the carbon credits. The ratifiers of the Kyoto Protocol can purchase carbon credits to help offset their emissions. Because of this economic problem, the US stopped agreeing to the Kyoto Protocol. These carbon credits allow the countries and firms to buy and sell parts of those targets. The model for this is a system we have here in the United States for buying and selling the right to emit sulfur dioxide, which is the leading cause of acid rain. Some people call these emissions rights or population rights. The biggest problem are the economic failures of the Kyoto Protocol.
Você sabe o que foi o Protocolo de Kyoto?
O Protocolo de Kyoto foi... Ai, não, calma. Vai pegar.
Now we're gonna show you how to...
The Kyoto Protocol was adopted. Unfortunately, now, global warming is stronger than ever before.
Calma,